Yes, good evening. My name is Wallace Bradley, and I'm the host of the Bradley Report that's presented by United in Peace, Inc. As you have been watching the news, it's almost like when your parents go off for a weekend, the children get wild and want to do everything but tie up the house. Well, that's what happened at the city council. But a lot of things came out of that chaos. You have an alderman apologize to another alderman, and that alderman that apologized was the chairman of the zoning committee, was the floor leader, and he resigned both of those committees. Remember last week I talked about the 21st Ward, and they were going to bring the migrant tent city to 115th and Halsted. But the people in that ward wanted development to be on that property. And they had a vote today. The alderman agreed to the migrant tent being set up on 115th until November of next year. And then the residents' concerns are going to be manifested, and the development is going to start on sometime in November of 2024. And the property where the city of Chicago brought the property for $1, they would turn that over to the development or the developers to build up housing and commercial and residential properties and everything there. So that was a win-win piece. So without further ado, let me share this with you. The show was put together by none other than the chairman of United in Peace, Inc. I'm just the president of United in Peace, Inc. Okay? And that's none other than my wife, Terry Wallace Bradley. So to God be the glory. Let's get on with the story. Could you hit that first story for me, please?
Was using an ATM in the southwest suburbs
No, wrong
when she
story.
was shot.
Yeah.
It was the end to a chaotic special meeting that centered around the migrant crisis.
Chicago has yet to say, we can't take anymore. We have to draw the line somewhere.
And that's what's been kind of frustrating about this quote-unquote debate, is that people who are attacking the Sanctuary City Ordinance don't know what they're talking about. It has nothing to do with refugee resettlement. It has nothing to do with the current crisis.
Alderman Anthony Beal, Ray Lopez, and others called the special meeting to discuss and vote on a non-binding referendum that would let voters decide if Chicago should remain as a sanctuary city.
All I'm asking is that we give the people of this great city of Chicago a chance to have a voice on this issue.
Alderman Carlos Ramirez-Rosa says the Sanctuary City Ordinance only refers to law enforcement and government officials not cooperating with ICE. Mayor Brandon Johnson, City Council floor leader, says providing resources to migrants is about the city's values. It's not written in the ordinance. Ramirez-Rosa claimed the meeting violated state law. He tried to stop it by sending out a group text telling alders not to show up so there wouldn't be enough for a quorum.
I'm leaving because right now I have potholes, trees get trimmed, and I have a host of other things that our residents in the 6th Ward want me to deal with.
Alderman William Hall and many of the mayor's strongest supporters did not show. However, after 2 tries, there was a quorum and the meeting started. But it never came to a vote because of confusion and debate over the rules. Ramirez-Rosa claiming one thing and Beal and Lopez claiming another.
And they were so worried about losing and putting this question before the voters that they were willing to bend every rule in the book to get out of here as quickly as possible.
And how the meeting legally ended is up for debate as well. Ramirez Rosa says it was adjourned and the sanctuary city issue will not be taken up. But Beal and Lopez say the meeting was in recess and it will continue on Tuesday morning.
A mother of two was using
With that chaos, you have to understand you got a lot of people that was with Paul Wallace, and they still hadn't gotten over the fact that they lost that election. And there's a lot of them that was with Trump, that's with Paul Wallace, that was alderman. There's alderman there, like Lopez. And in my opinion, the migrant piece is a crisis. And you got everyone trying to work it out, the mayor trying to work it out, getting with the Congressman Jackson, and went to Washington, D.C. to talk to the Illinois delegation in the House and in the Senate to convince the president, along with 5 other mayors from different cities, went there to talk with the president to get money to help deal with the migrant situation so that they don't have to use all of the city funds in their budget for a federal crisis. Then you got those individuals that were against the election of Brandon to create chaos out of a crisis instead of coming with a solution to help solve the problem that's affecting all the wards within the city. The one thing that I heard that made sense to me that was coming from Alderman Beal was when he educated everyone in the city council that the sanctuary city piece that was put together when Harold Washington was the mayor wasn't set up to take an influx of migrants and then to pay or use the city resources. It was a document that was put together where there was asylum seekers that came to Chicago by going through the proper channels, and where the city wasn't going to work with ICE to go and get those individuals and to deport them. So today they had a meeting dealing on that issue, and it's a non-binding resolution to allow the people to be able to say something. And I think they're going to agree on it next week. Okay? But a lot of things happened during that meeting. Could you hit the next story?
Pharmacy benefit, all with the same FEP premium. There's even a cap on the amount you pay out of pocket on prescriptions each year.
They needed 26 in the room to have a quorum. They couldn't get the quorum, and then they shut the meeting down. And okay, yeah, hit that story right there.
In just 10 minutes a day, Chicago's All Local delivers a power-packed punch of hyper-local news straight to your ears. Make Chicago's All Local a habit. Text WBBM to 20357 for a link to listen to the All Local. Message and data rates may apply.
At council meeting, Aldermen voted to put Mayor Johnson's tax increase for Chicago homeless services on next spring's ballot.
The binding referendum known as Bring Home Chicago will appear on the spring ballot for voters to decide whether or not to raise the real estate transfer tax on high-end property sales to tackle the problem of homelessness. Alderwoman Maria Haddon says a lot of work has been done behind the scenes to get the issue to this point.
We have a plan for how we're going to use the money. You've had a bunch of civil servants working overtime for months to come up with a plan. The voters are going to tell us what they want, and then we're going to work even harder, and we're going to come up with a plan, and we're going to spend the money like we've been spending the money.
The issue passed 32-17 and is a win for Mayor Brandon Johnson on another chaotic council day. Mallory Vorbroker, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
The things that's happening, you're going to have Alderman Rosa. He apologizes to Alderman Emma Mitz. And it caused so much noise that the City Council Black Caucus put a demand in for Rosa to resign from being the floor leader in the Chicago City Council and to resign from being the chairman of the zoning committee. The mayor had to agree with what the people were asking. And even Alderman Rosa realized that he had made a mistake. Emma Mitz told the mayor, along with her pastor, that Rosa never did put his hands on her. You know what I mean? So he didn't get into no physical altercation. And yeah, hit the next one. Yeah, hit the next story for me. Yeah, right there. That's what I was telling you about earlier, where last week I talked about the fact that the people in the community, Morgan Park community, was upset when they heard that he was going to put a migrant tent city on 115th and Halsted. But the community knew that it was a developer that had made plans. I got $15 million from the Illinois Black Legislative Caucus in order to build a development there for homes and stores, and so the alderman was against that proposal about the migrants because he didn't know how long they was going to be there. He asked to get clarification. So since he got the clarification and he shared that with the community, everybody then cooled down because they know that the development is going to happen on the 2024, I'll be in November of next year. So everybody is happy. And sometimes people got to understand this here. Politics is about compromise. And you get some of the things that you want, and sometimes you don't get all the things you feel that you need. But for the betterment in the name of humanity and satisfying the alderman, satisfied his concerns, his constituents' concerns, I want to salute that alderman, Ronnie Mosley, the community of Morgan Park in the 21st Ward, those developers, the aldermen that made the decision to go with the new plan, every alderman went with it, but Lopez. So it make you wonder, if you really was concerned about what was right for that community, and they changed everything up, it would only have been right to vote with change if it's going to make the community better. Got another story. Could you hit that other story that's coming up right behind this one?
It was a day for laying down the swords between the mayor's former floor leader, Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa, and Westside Alderwoman Emma Mitz. She says that he grabbed her by the arm and bullied her last week to prevent her from taking part in a special city council meeting. Today, she spoke publicly about the incident for the first time and called out Ramirez Rosa. He then offered what appeared to be a sincere apology. Alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa offering a hug to Alderwoman Emma Mitz before City Council today as he prepared to make a public apology before the entire body, but not before she had a chance to talk about the incident last week during a special City Council meeting that she says left her shaking.
He said, you know, you shouldn't be in here. I said, well, why are you bothering me? He says, because the rest of your colleagues are idiots.
She then recounted how Ramirez Rosa physically blocked her from entering council chambers for a roll call vote, saying it reminded her of when she was a little girl in the South.
Thank you. You did apologize this morning to me. First time we talked. And I will tell you this. Action always speaks louder than words.
Ramirez Rosa then apologized to her and the entire council.
I sincerely apologize to you, my colleague, Alderwoman Emma Mitz, for the disrespectful interaction that we had outside of council chambers and for my overzealous attempts throughout the day to try and convince you not to be part of the quorum.
Earlier, a committee meeting dealing with referendums related to the migrant crisis devolved into chaos, forcing the meeting to be recessed. Mitz later addressing that as well.
I saw this coming, but until we get some law and order in here now and start respecting each other, then we'll be having even more darker days ahead.
But just when it appeared the council was ready to move on, some alders called for Ramirez Rosa to be formally censured, setting off debate.
There is no acceptance of responsibility, only an acceptance of being caught.
I think that the censure is out of line. I think that it can cause more harm than it can heal.
And just minutes ago, the vote to censure Ramirez Rosa failed by just one vote. Emma Mitz among those voting no, telling me afterwards in the annex behind there that she did not want to prolong division in the city council and she did not want to play judge and jury in this.
The wonderful thing, because I always look for, when I got a bunch of lemons, I find out that you don't throw the lemon away, you make lemonade. The fact that the man stood up and apologized to the alderman, apologized to his colleagues, and took the weight for the problem and dilemma that he caused himself when he really thought he was doing what was right. But for my viewing audience to understand this and share this with your children or whatever it is, you got to know the rules of engagement when it comes to politics. There's 50 aldermen. They needed 26 votes in order to, or 26 aldermen within the chambers in order to have a quorum to have a meeting to address issues. I think the one, no, I don't think I know. The one thing that Alderman Rosa didn't realize is that he himself had the power without talking to any of the other aldermen, because they needed 26. He was a part of the 26 that was in the room. All he had to do was go out the room. They would have had 25, but they wouldn't have had 26. I'm glad that today they all came together, those that voted, cast their votes, changed their minds and cast a vote, agreed to disagree, to come back next Tuesday in order to deal with this sanctuary issue where the people will be able to say something and have their chance to cast their vote during the March 19th. During the March 19th, 2024 election. Because there's a lot at stake. The mayor got a $16.6 billion budget that he has to get passed, and he needs 26 votes to get it passed. One of the things that was passed today in the city council was the referendum that's going to be on the March 19th, 2024 election, was getting revenue from taxes being paid on properties that's worth $1 million, something like that. But the people got to agree to it. But it's going to generate anywhere from $100 million to $200 million a year. And that money is going to be paid to deal with the homeless situation in the city of Chicago. So it killed a lot of noise, because they came in. The city council came in today, in spite of their individual disagreements. They came in today, they cast some votes that made a lot of sense for a lot of people. And it showed a blueprint. So everybody got a problem with a migrant tent being set up. Now you know you got a roadmap to find compromise in order to make your community a better community in the name of humanity. With that, I want to say to God be the glory. That's Gator's story. And again, I'm the host of the Bradley Report. To God be the glory.